it.
He did it. That beautiful idiot got to the soft area at the top of the slot and he scored.
Man.
Literally right after we talked about getting to that spot in the freaking slot. Sure enough, McDavid is wide open, finds we're just slagging on the guy to do something. And then, oh man, what a save by Binnington there.
Yeah.
Like we owed him that win after that, but like just of course it's McDavid, right? Like it's just the way sports work. Is there anything more poetic than sports? Like Crosby gets the golden goal in 2010. Now we're in overtime again in this Four Nations Cup, and it's like, of course, it's McDavid wide open in the slot. What an overtime! Oh my god!
What is this $20 dono? Oh, I'm going to have to put some money in the sport jar. Let's fucking go. McDavid from the soft area at the top of the slot. Paragraph for Pro dropping a 20 bomb in chat. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you.
My TV just turned off. What's going on? We want to watch the
You've
celebration.
had it on the same
My wife's
channel
like,
for
what's
too
going
long."
on?
Stupid Telus boxes.
And that's the thing is, my wife watches hockey with me here and there. But obviously this year with me yakking during every game, she's like, I'm out of here. But she's over there. She's watching this right now. So she's into it too. And I think that's a good sign.
Oh, man. Like, unreal.
It's very reminiscent of the Crosby goal because a lot of people don't remember the 2010 Olympics. Crosby did not play very well, right? Like he didn't play bad, but he wasn't a game changer through it. And then at the very end, when it really came down to it, it really mattered. Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal. And now, as we said, I mean, and McDavid had his goals, like he scored the first goal in a couple of different games, but really like we were talking about pretty much during all the intermissions, McDavid didn't look like himself out there. And then all of a sudden overtime, Mitch Marner, another guy who's not supposed to come in clutch with a beauty pass right to McDavid. How do you leave McDavid that empty in front of the net, right?
Yeah. Like it's just, and even before that goal that McDavid scored, his first shift in overtime looked different than the rest of the game where he called for it behind the net, wound it up in his own end, skated it all the way down the ice. And it was like, whoa, where was this guy all game?
Yeah.
And then sure enough, his next shift out, he's controlling the puck again. Good forecheck, gets into that soft area and bang, like back of the net. He's not going to miss from there like ever.
Well, and that's the thing is that there's a couple things about playing against Connor Hellebuyck that you have to remember is his two weakest aspects are his rebound control. And he's actually similar to Shilov's in that he does have a hard time tracking pucks through shots from the point. And so you saw Canada trying a lot of that stuff. And, but the third thing is he does play differently than, for example, Jordan Binnington, who we saw be probably too aggressive at sometimes during the night, but Binnington will charge out. Whereas Hellebuyck is the kind of guy, he almost never leaves his crease, right? So when that puck comes to McDavid right in the slot, he is so down low behind the net. He ends up, there's nothing he can do. There's a huge gap over his shoulder, and McDavid put it right where mom keeps the peanut butter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Binnington showing again, he has that ability to lock in when it matters most. I mean, that's what he did when the Blues won the Stanley Cup. He does have that big game ability, and so, it's good that he was able to do that. But he did let in some questionable goals this tournament. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, great that he made those huge saves in overtime and we got this win, but we didn't have to go this far. Let's just say.
Yeah. And I mean, it'll be interesting because obviously, like we are already been talking about, the Olympics coming up in next year. So it should be interesting to see if Binnington ends up being the starter there as well.
Well, it'd be interesting because I mean, if they're gonna go based on merit, like at the current time, like Logan Thompson would have been the Olympic goaltender right now.
Yeah.
Based off of like the year and how they're playing. Also, next year, US might have even more reinforcements as well. So they're gonna have Quinn Hughes on the blue line
or something.
Yeah, so like they're gonna have even more firepower and defensive ability next year when the Olympics come. So this is it's going to feel like the rematch, the second Canada and US face off in the Olympics next year. It's going to be must see TV.
They're giving out gold medals. So you get a
I mean, they
trophy
did.
and gold medals.
See, that's why I'm so mad that the the third and fourth place teams didn't play for a bronze. Like, if you're gonna give out a gold and a silver, you should probably give out a bronze and have a third, fourth game. Like,
I
they could have
mean,
had a 3-4 game today. Like, if you're gonna have this tournament, you already have all the media and everyone there. Like, it's so silly. There's so many things they did that were they dropped the ball a bit with
yeah,
this.
yeah. But it is clearly the way that it was run, a very much a tester tournament. So it's interesting to see what they'll make changes, especially with 8 teams, right? They're going to have to bring in international players. Like, it's not going to be just an NHL tournament next time, because there's no way that a team like Slovakia or even Finland struggled in this tournament to field an entire team. 3 stars of the game. What are your picks?
3 stars of the game. I mean, usually it's annoying because he's probably going to get a star, but he didn't play very well. Connor McDavid's probably in the top 3.
Yeah, he's the first star of the game.
Yeah, because he got the winning goal, right? And then second star, you probably got to give it to Binnington for a couple of the big saves he made.
Yep.
Made 32 stops. And then third star, Austin Matthews, because he got 2 assists for US.
Yep. It actually ends up being one of the Kachucks. But I think the 3 stars are broken right now. Right now, the 3 stars are listed as McDavid and McKinnon because McDavid was the actual first star of the game, but McKinnon actually ended up winning the MVP of the whole tournament.
Ah, there you go.
So McKinnon ends up scoring 4 goals in 4 games at best on best tournament, which is nothing to snuff at.
No.
And the one thing we were chatting a little bit about throughout the game, how do you think this affects the teams of these players going forward? Like, do you think these guys are going to come back and add a little bit more piss and vinegar into their teams in the NHL schedule? Or are they going to come back and be depleted and have to, renegotiate the fact that suddenly they're in the middle of the doldrums of a long regular season?
I think for the guys going back to playoff teams in the fight, or guys right on the bubble, they're going to be re-energized and ready to go with that feeling of pushing for a win, especially the guys on the US that got that close. And now you get like, oh, okay, now I'm fired up. Hopefully you can channel it that way for a lot of these guys going back to their teams. Most of these guys are veterans, right? So they've been in the business long enough. They know what it means to go back to their team, and they're all stars, right? So they know that they're the important guys. The number one goal is always winning the Stanley Cup as an NHL player. These guys are pretty good at putting aside the NHL season for something like this. Like, it's the same as like the World Juniors, you get those kids off of hundreds of Canadian teams, and you pick 18 kids and 2 goalies, and then you send them back and expect them just to go play junior hockey again. It's same like this. Like, these guys are used to that sort of thing. For the guys that are hurt, on the other hand, then it could be tough, because then you go back and you can't get into the fight right away, and it's even more time off. And then you could be outside the playoff picture, and then you're just feeling a little like you're playing mean nothing hockey now. So then, yeah, that would be tough going back to a team that's not really playing important hockey. You'd probably be you're probably looking forward to the summer, I would imagine, after this kind of emotional high.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Even I think my mom's not happy about having to watch some regular season hockey again, so that should be interesting. Stats wise through the game, pretty even for the most part. The one that really stuck out for me was the shots in overtime, because obviously, Binnington, like we talked about, made some big saves. The Americans ended up with 6 shots in that overtime period. Canada ended up with 4. Didn't really matter how many shots each team had. Canada took the game, but overall the Americans outshot Canada just slightly. Face-offs were 50-50. There was only 1 power play the whole period. So both these teams ended up going through the entire tournament without allowing a shorthanded goal or a power play goal against. Hits were 25-28. The Americans had a lot more blocked shots, though. I wonder why that is, because it seemed like the first game it was the other way around, where Canada was blocking a lot more. Why would that have switched in this game?
I think a lot of the shots that were coming from the point, those tend to get blocked more often. So Canada was firing a lot from the blue line. And so that tends to jump the block shot numbers up a bit. And we see that when the Canucks play a lot, right? Like we look at, the shot totals. It's like, 20 shots on net, but like 40 blocked shots. So it's not uncommon for us to see those. But yeah, that's just a product of trying to get them through traffic and not getting the shot lanes like you should be.
Our regular pink sunglasses says dump and chase works, boys.
It wins championships.
People's First is starting to cry. Rick Talk on top. Yeah, you got to think too. The one thing about having Talk at this tournament was fun having Adam Foote run the presser the other day when he was chatting, because I think he maybe gave away more than even what he was supposed to, because he's not used to being in front of the press like that. But it's kind of a similar question. Rick Tocchet coming back after a big tournament like this, that's got to give him some energy and some pep in his step moving into the last 27 games of the regular season.
Absolutely, and some new tools. I mean, going to work with someone like John Cooper, who's got a Stanley Cup, and Bruce Cassidy and Peter DeBoer. I mean, all these guys have Stanley Cups, right? Like they're all champions. So Tocchet being able to work with those guys and see the way that they prep players for a game and the way they structure a practice or the plays that they run. I mean, that can go a long way. And you got to take the hat off.
You got to take the hat off. We should probably stand up
playing
to
the national anthem here. Yeah.
In all thy command. Oh my goodness. It was nice to meet you too, Brutality. Brutality Blood. That's the most hardcore name in chat, I think. Katie, your better half. Oh my God. Chris Willis. Is that Chris Willis, like golfing Willis? Is that one of your
I believe it is.
Dustin?
Yes, it's one of the adaptive golfers that I golf with in my bigger tournaments.
I had Chris Willis in before
Ontario.
this stream even started. He made a bunch of predictions, some of which came true, but a lot of them were full of whimsy, so they didn't end up happening. But it is what it is. So this is just another thing to add. We didn't think Sidney Crosby could add more to his resume, but now we've added yet another trophy for him to win. Because let's think about it. He did the Memorial Cup. He won the Stanley Cup. He won the World Championship. He won the World Cup, and he won the Olympic gold medal twice. So now this is the 6th championship, because he actually has 3 Stanley Cups and 2 gold medals. So now we're talking about if he had a ring for every championship he got, he doesn't have enough fingers for all the rings that he'd be getting. Is Sidney Crosby the GOAT?
Canadian, absolutely. Absolutely. Of international, just like Canadian hockey players for like the most decorated and of all time, 100%. He is. If some of these tournaments existed in the days of Wayne Gretzky, he probably would have had more international success as well. But Crosby has a way of elevating himself for the country. I think really only the next thing for Crosby to do is to bring the cup back to Canada. So maybe he needs to not play for the Penguins anymore.
That's fair, right? Do you think
best repeating for Crosby? What did you say?
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said there.
What? We'll keep half his salary. What? Because think about it. If you keep half of Petey's salary, then essentially you're just paying Crosby what he actually deserves, because he was only making 8.7 anyways. So you take half of Petey's, which is about just under 6 million, add that to the 8.7, boom, 14.7, bam.
Sure. Yes.
The one thing I always wonder about these things too is how much discussion goes into Sidney Crosby deciding who he's going to pass the cup over to.
Yeah, that's who did he pass it to? I missed it.
Brad Marchand.
McKinnon.
I think they just straight up went for age. I think that's
Yeah,
kind of.
probably.
I think they
Just the
faked out. They
the
made it
old
look like it
dogs.
was going to go to McKinnon, and then he went to Brad Marchand, which is. I think they've just gone with age. Okay, so they have updated the 3 stars. It did end up being McDavid, Jordan Binnington, and then Brady Tkachuk with the 1 goal ends up getting the 3rd star. And I think the reason that he probably gets it over Matthews' 2 assists is because Brady Tkachuk was running around like a crazy person out there, throwing hits like a wild man. So I think I agree
he
with
was.
that.
Yeah, I was talking to Katie earlier. Hey, does Brady Tkachuk remind you of the blue Monstar from the original Space Jam?
Yes.
Like if you painted him blue, like it's uncanny.
Well, I guess the other aspect, speaking of Kachuk's, Matthew Kachuk only ends up playing just under 7 minutes, 15 shifts in this game. So I think he is definitely going to be hurting going back to his team. Chris Kreider, same thing, only played 625. So you got 2 of their forwards. Kreider was probably a game time decision as well. So both those guys didn't see a lot of action, which made for a bit of a shorter bench for the Americans. But I don't think they really showed any kind of extra tiredness from that. Do you?
Um, no. Like in a game like this, you run on adrenaline, right? So you can go until your body says no, but your heart's gonna keep going. You put it aside and you're stepping up for your country, right? So it's a different level of having to step up. Um, yeah, I mean it's probably not the best situation for a team these guys are routine guys, right? So it's like, oh, I play this much, but these guys all play like max minutes at their home teams, so it's nothing to them to play a couple extra shifts. They double shift at home all the time. Like if in a game when they're down, right, a 4th line's going to get taken out of the game or put on the bench. So it's not uncommon for a couple of these guys to have to pick up the slack.
Aiden Hill getting the cup after doing absolutely nothing. Hey,
That's like
all
the
he got.
backup goalie getting his name on the Stanley Cup, man. I mean, you're still there.
I wonder, does the 3rd string goalie get their name on the cup?
Imagine everyone on the full roster will probably get their name on the
Yeah.
cup. So Sam Montembeault, congratulations, you are a Four Nations Cup winner.
Well, I didn't see who it was, but it looked like when they were giving out their gold medals, it looks like Brad Marchand actually gave a piggyback ride to someone in shoes across the ice to go to get his gold medal, which was pretty hilarious. So,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Okay. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Dustin?
Absolutely. I did not expect to have that kind of emotional engagement with this tournament. I really thought it was going to be kind of slow paced, mean nothing hockey like we've kind of got used to seeing in the All-Star games. I mean, you remember last year Kucherov in the All-Star skills comp. I mean, it was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing for the NHL. So this is a huge success. All the hockey fans I talked to were fully invested in this game. The political undertones made it even more intense and interesting and engaging. So, yeah, I think overall, just a great success of a tournament.
It's kind of funny too, because if you look at the 2 teams, Canada, the United States, Canada obviously is a bit on the older side in comparison to the United States, which I think came into effect as a result of the American players going crazy in the first game against Canada, because the Kachuk brothers, JT Miller, McAvoy, like these are all guys that went wild in that first game against Canada. But at the end of the day, that game didn't mean crap. Right? It was a statement that they're like, we're here. But I think they left it all on the ice the other game, and they forgot that they were going to have to win another one, probably against Canada. Do you think that ends up being a factor for the States?
I think so. Just overconfidence can be your nemesis sometimes, right? Like it's one thing to be confident, it's another thing to be cocky. And the USA started to cross that line into the cocky with the support of Trump and that. And I mean that's what Trump is, right? He oozes that brash, cocky, I'm the best attitude. And that kind of trickled down onto the players, right? And these are young guys. They're in their 20s, most of them. So you're gonna get that kind of, yeah, I'm the best attitude, and that's what got these guys to the level they're at. But it can also bite you in the butt in the sense of if you expect to win, then a lot of times you're going to be let down.
Dustin, we're moving back into the NHL schedule now, so we're going to be back doing Canucks games. We got Vegas on Saturday at 7:00. You going to be around for the first intermission?
We do. I will be.
Cool.
I will be around just for you and for chat. Of course, I'll be here.
Bro, you know how it goes. Everyone throws me under the bus. They just want to see your face. It's only a matter of time before they want you hosting this thing permanently.
We are a team, and forever will always be a team. I would not be doing this if it weren't for you.
Well, I was going to ask you too, because this schedule to start looks straight up AHL style, where they play at 7 in Vegas and then 5 in Utah the next day. And I know it's not a far travel, but it's still travel with less than 24 hours between games. What do you think the Canucks' chances are moving into Vegas with obviously Theodore not going to be there for Vegas?
Well, I think you got to take advantage of the fact that all of our guys have been resting. We didn't have a single guy in this game. Vegas had Mark Stone out here. Theodore's hurt. So, it'd be good for us to go in there and take advantage. Hopefully carry some of the momentum we had before the break into after the break. The back-to-back isn't as big of a deal because we've had the 2 weeks off. And our guys are all well rested and ready to go. Might see a little rust early on, but I kind of like having that back-to-back start, so you get 2 games right out of the gate, and you can knock some of that rust off. You got an intense opponent at the top of the standings to start off, which is good that's your first game, and then you get to back it up with someone quite far down the standings where they might beat you. Utah's not a terrible club. Like, they got lots of young talent, but
what
they are a
last
team
time we played Utah, Dustin?
Don't want to talk about it.
Are you going to be there for the Utah game too? I guess I should ask you that right now. It's a 5 o'clock start.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
If anything
I should
changes,
be there
let me
for
know.
both games. So I like, honestly, I just think we're a different team now than when we faced Utah last time. I think our new guys are going to be excited to get back on the ice and keep building. Drew O'Connor's got his new contract. Marcus Pettersson's got his new contract. So these guys are no longer rentals. They're a part of this club, and they will be a part of this club for the next couple of years. So that's huge. And we just need to pick up where we left off. Tocchet hopefully can come in, and maybe we can get a little more offense going. And we'll also have to see what kind of Pettersson we get back in EP40. There were some, pictures of him floating around online, icing that knee a lot in intermissions and stuff for Team Sweden. So that tendonitis, I think, is really still nagging on him. It's not obviously bad enough that he can't play, but it's just one of those things that, I think it's just holding him back. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the kid, but maybe the Canucks need to shut him down. Maybe there's surgery or something. I mean, we did see Mikheyev play for how long on a bad knee before the Canucks finally agreed to shut him down and give him some surgery. So I just hope we're not running that same route with Pettersson and forcing him to play when he's telling them that he can't, and jeopardizing his career. In the sense of, like, we want this kid to bounce back, but if he's hurt and we're not giving him the chance to heal, we might be doing more damage than good.
Yeah. I think I'm really liking the situation for the Canucks, because obviously 2 weeks off, you got all the new guys in. They've all been practicing this week, so they should be able to have everyone coming out on the same page to start the rest of the regular season and the push for the playoffs.
I hope so.
Anything you want to say to chat before I let you go, brother?
It's going to be fast and furious out of this break here. There's only 6 games until the trade deadline, so we'll have to keep a close eye on what's going on around the team, especially with one Brock Besser. But I'm looking forward to getting back to covering the Canucks, and we will see everyone Saturday night. Appreciate you all hanging out in chat as always, and thanks again, Russ, for having me on.
Thanks for the dono, brother. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
Sounds good.
Nothing is perfect.